everybody. We are starting a new book about Mercy Watson, and it is called Mercy Watson, Something Wonky This Way Comes. And it's by Kate DiCamillo. And we started this yesterday in our Zoom, but I wanted to read it for those of you that were not able to attend. Mercy Watson, Something Wonky This Way Comes by Kate DiCamillo and illustrated by Chris Van Dusen. I like the dedication page, so I'm going to read that to you. And it says, for butter-eating, joy-seeking, pig-loving readers everywhere. Chapter 1. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson have a pig named Mercy. Mr. Watson, Mrs. Watson, and Mercy live together in a house at 54 Deckawoo Drive. One Saturday afternoon, Mr. Watson said to Mrs. Watson, my darling, my dear, there's a movie at the Bijou called When Pigs Fly. When Pigs Fly, said Mrs. Watson. What an inspiring title. Mercy, did you hear? Mercy did not hear. Mercy did not hear because Mercy was not listening. It says here that the Bijou proudly serves real butter, said Mr. Watson. Oh my, said Mrs. Watson, real butter? Mercy pricked up her ears. She was listening now. Mercy loved butter. She particularly loved butter on hot toast. But she would take butter any way she could get it. Yes, said Mr. Watson. It says here that the Bijou proudly serves real butter on every bottomless bucket of popcorn. Bottomless, said Mrs. Watson. Bottomless, said Mr. Watson, which means all you can eat. All you can eat, said Mrs. Watson. What a delightful concept. Mercy thought that all you can eat was a very delightful concept. Let's go to the movies, said Mr. Watson. Let's, said Mrs. Watson. Oink, said Mercy. Chapter 2. Where are you going, said Baby Lincoln. We're off to the movies, said Mr. Watson. Oh, said Baby, what movie are you going to see? It is a movie called When Pigs Fly, said Mrs. Watson. Is it a romance, said Baby? Is it a movie about love? Well, said Mrs. Watson, I think it is basically a movie about pigs flying. Don't be ridiculous, said Eugenia Lincoln. Pigs don't fly. It's a figure of speech. What's a figure of speech, said Mr. Watson. The movie title, said Eugenia, is a figure of speech signifying the impossible. Well, said Mrs. Watson, we're going to be impossibly late if we don't get going. Would you care to join us, said Mr. Watson. Yes, said Baby Lincoln. Absolutely not, said Eugenia Lincoln. Oh, sister, said Baby, please say yes. No, said Eugenia, but she got into the Watsons' convertible anyway. Where are you going? Shouted Stella. We're off to the movies, said Mr. Watson. What kind of movie are you going to see? Said Frank. It's a romance, said Baby. It will be inspirational, said Mrs. Watson. It's a figure of speech, said Eugenia. Is it a movie with a happy ending, said Frank. Oh, it must end happily, said Mrs. Watson. Can we come too, said Stella. The more the merrier, said Mrs. Watson. And that is where we will stop for today.